Hi guys, this is part 2 of this 3-part series where I wanted to talk about my story. As I mentioned last week in part 1, it was heavily inspired by the feedback I got about my Side Hustle Pro interview. First and foremost though, my apologies that this video is a few days late. Things have been this chaotic, but I'm here now. So today in part 2, I'm going to basically talk about how I fell in love with interior design, and it's relatively simple. I landed a job, not even a job, in a company that I hated. You know, it started off great. I was getting paid well. I was in the 6 figures, but everyone around me, for the most part, was miserable. Not a little miserable, miserable. And it just kind of made me think about, you know, where I was, what I was doing. Did I want to look like them in a few years? It just made me kind of reflect. But I did not want to leave those corporate paychecks. At the same time, this is how the universe works. I was in the process of redoing my own home because all the furniture I had bought was when I was a really, really broke 22, 23-year-old who was trying to furnish a home. As you may remember from part 1, I was also taking care of a sick parent. So money was tight around those parts. So when I got to this company and, you know, my income had continued to increase, I finally wanted to do something. Like, I wanted to get rid of all the IKEA furniture. I wanted furniture that I did not have to put together. Just little things like that. And I had this amazing friend, Clea Gibson from the Party Muse, and she had just had a baby maybe within that year, and she told me that she would be launching a party planning business. And if you hadn't noticed, I talk with my face. So we're on the phone, and I was like, why would you want to leave all these good corporate paychecks and this quality health insurance for party planning? I just couldn't understand. And she said something to me that I will never forget. And when I told you this was more than a decade ago, but it resonated. She's a very smart woman. She said, I cannot chase a check for something that has me so miserable. I want to be able to do something that I love and passionate about, and that's going to make me happy. At the time, I was not ready to receive it. I'll say that. But within that year, as I'm watching these zombies walk around my corporate office, I realized that maybe it wasn't such a bad idea, that maybe I should try, you know, take the risk of doing something that I actually had fell in love with. Because just through the process of doing things in my own home, you know, wanting to test out paint colors, you know, going to these stores, seeing new things, reading magazines, things I had never done before, and I just fell in love with all things design, fell in love with how a home could look. Because there's a huge difference between how a home looks and how a home feels. But I hadn't understood this yet at this point, and that's where we're going to get into part 3, which will launch next week on time, I promise. So look out for it next Monday. But the gist is that I'll say 2 things. Surround yourself with an amazing village. Remember that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And most importantly, is that if you want to live a happy life, you have to try new things. Because if Kalia had not said that, I don't think that I would have ever taken the step or taken it when I did. It was just all these things aligning. It was the ability to being able to afford to do things in my home. It was being at a company that was oh so awful. And it was having friends who were not afraid to jump. So next week, I'll see you guys then.